Stepping into the dimly lit room, the air thick with the scent of ancient herbs, I felt an inexplicable shift. The fortune teller's whisper promised answers, but delivered a prophecy that blurred my dreams with strangers' memories. I never believed in fortune tellers. Growing up, I was the type to scoff at horoscopes and roll my eyes at psychic hotline commercials. But life has a way of humbling you, of bringing you to your knees and making you clutch at straws you once dismissed. After the accident, after losing everything that tethered me to this world, I found myself standing in front of a crumbling storefront, its sign barely legible, Madame Serafina, Seer of Truths. The inside was even less impressive than the outside. Dusty curtains hung limply over what I assumed were supposed to be mystical symbols. The air was stale, filled with the cloying scent of incense that made my eyes water. But there was something else there, too. Something that made the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. It was the smell of old paper and something metallic, like blood.
Madame Serafina was not what I expected. She was young, too young to have the world-weary eyes that met mine. Her gaze was sharp, piercing, as if she could see right through me. "You're desperate," she said, her voice a soft rasp. "You've lost something precious, and you're looking for answers." I nodded, unable to speak past the lump in my throat. I had lost my husband and my unborn child in a car crash that I miraculously walked away from. The guilt was eating me alive, and I needed to know why I was the one who survived. She took my hands in hers, her skin cold and dry. "Your mind is open, like a door left ajar," she murmured. "It's connecting with others, with someone who has experienced more than you can bear." Her eyes darkened, and she squeezed my hands tightly. "Be careful what you let in." I left her shop with more questions than answers, but that night, everything changed. As soon as I closed my eyes, I was no longer in my bed. I was in a dimly lit room, the walls covered in peeling wallpaper. A woman sat in a rocking chair, her face gaunt and her eyes hollow. She was humming a lullaby, her voice trembling with sorrow. I tried to move, to speak, but I was invisible, a ghost in someone else's memory. Every night since then, I've slipped into the lives of others. Sometimes they're people I know. My best friend's secret struggles with depression. My neighbor's hidden past as a war refugee. Other times, they're complete strangers, their lives unfolding before me in vivid detail. I've seen births, deaths, moments of joy and despair so intense they've left me gasping for air. But the worst part isn't the lack of control or the constant invasion of my mind. It's the fear that I'm losing myself. The memories of these other lives are so vivid, so real, that they're starting to blend with my own. I'll catch myself humming a tune I've never heard before, or recognizing a stranger on the street. I'm forgetting things too, important things like my husband's laugh, or the way he used to hold me when I was scared. I went back to Madame Serafina, begging for help. She looked at me with pity in her eyes. "You've opened a door that was meant to stay closed," she said. The only way to shut it is to find the source of the connection, the person whose memories are seeping into yours. But how do I find someone I don't know, someone who might not even be real? Every night, I dive deeper into the abyss, searching for answers. I've seen glimpses of a man, his face always hidden in shadow, his presence a constant in the sea of memories. He's the key. I know it. But with each passing day, I feel myself slipping further away, my own memories fading like an old photograph. I've started keeping a journal, documenting every detail of these dreams, hoping to find a pattern or a clue. The journal is filled with names, dates, and descriptions of places I've never been. I've spent hours in libraries and online trying to piece together the puzzle, but it's like trying to catch smoke with my bare hands. One night, I dreamed of a house by the sea. The air was salty, and the sound of waves crashing against the shore filled my ears. A man stood on the porch, his back to me, looking out at the ocean. I could feel his sadness, a deep well of grief that mirrored my own. As I stepped closer, he turned, and for the first time, I saw his face. It was Daniel, but older, his eyes filled with a sorrow that made my heart ache. He reached out to me, his hand passing through me as if I were a ghost. "Find me," he whispered, his voice a faint echo in the wind. I woke up with a start, my heart pounding in my chest. It was just a dream, but it felt so real. I've never believed in the supernatural, but how could I deny what I was experiencing? I needed answers, and I needed them fast. I returned to Madame Serafina's shop, determined to get more information. She listened to my story, her expression grave. "You're getting closer," she said, "but be careful. The path you're on is dangerous, and not all memories are meant to be uncovered." I left her shop with a sense of purpose. I would find the source of these memories, no matter the cost. I spent days retracing the steps of the people I had seen in my dreams, visiting places I had only experienced in my sleep. I talked to strangers, asked questions, and followed leads that seemed to go nowhere. One evening, I found myself standing in front of a house by the sea. It was exactly as I had seen it in my dream. My heart raced as I knocked on the door, unsure of what I would find. An older woman answered, her eyes widening in recognition as she looked at me. "You're her, aren't you? The one from his dreams?" She invited me in, and as I stepped inside, I felt a sense of familiarity wash over me. The house was filled with photographs, and in each one I saw Daniel, his face a mix of joy and sorrow. The woman introduced herself as Mrs. Thompson, Daniel's aunt. She told me stories of Daniel, of his life after the accident, of his struggles and his dreams. But it couldn't be. Daniel had died in the accident. I had seen his body, had attended his funeral. Yet here I was, surrounded by evidence of a life he had lived without me. Mrs. Thompson led me to a room at the end of the hall. Inside, Daniel sat in a wheelchair, his eyes lighting up as I entered. "You found me," he said, his voice a soft whisper. I fell to my knees, tears streaming down my face. It was him, but it wasn't. This Daniel was older, his body broken, but his spirit was still the same. He reached out to me, his hand trembling as he brushed away my tears. "I've been waiting for you," he said. "I've been dreaming of you." As we talked, the pieces of the puzzle started to fall into place. The accident had left Daniel in a coma, his mind trapped in a world between life and death. In that state, his memories and dreams had found a way to connect with mine, creating a bridge between our two realities.
The man in the shadows, the constant presence in my dreams, was Daniel, reaching out to me from the void. But the connection was fading, and with it, my sense of self. I couldn't stay in this limbo forever. I needed to find a way to sever the connection, to return to my own life and let Daniel live his. Madame Serafina had warned me of the dangers, and I couldn't ignore them any longer. With a heavy heart, I said my goodbyes to Daniel, promising to find a way to free us both. I returned to Madame Serafina, and together we performed a ritual to close the door between our minds. It was a long and arduous process, filled with moments of doubt and fear. But as the final words were spoken, I felt a sense of peace wash over me.
That night, I slept dreamlessly for the first time in months. When I woke up, I felt like myself again, my memories clear and untainted by the lives of others. I knew that the journey had changed me, that I would never be the same person I was before. But I was whole, and for the first time in a long time, I felt hope. I visited Daniel one last time, standing on the shore as the waves crashed against the rocks. He was there, his spirit free and at peace. He smiled at me, his eyes filled with love and gratitude. "Thank you," he whispered, his voice carried away by the wind. As I walked away, I knew that I had found my way back to myself. The road ahead was uncertain, but I was ready to face it, one step at a time. The nightmares were over, and I was finally free.
If it gave you chills, hit that like button, subscribe so you don't get lost between worlds, and write in the comments, are you sure you woke up in your own world? See you in the next story.